Finally. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might time and space. Kinneas here. 5 Skydude. I need to take a break from all action. But today we're going back to Neofly, and I made a big mistake. I'm down $1 million. Give me just a minute. Are you tired of every time you try to do a password or anything? Hello, model. How are you? It sucks. Every time you have to re-log into a website or use anything now, it's like, well, now you need to enter a code and you need to enter a passcode or you need to do a two-step verification. My God, folks, I'm so sick of all the jumping through hoops you have to go through to do anything. God forbid you forget your password on something. Every step along the way. Well, this account to access your mail needs two-step verification, and this one wants a code. Then they're going to send it to your phone, or they can send it to your email, and frustrating. You're flying in DCS again? I'm taking a break today. I'm going to try to do some stuff in Neofly today. Last I left off, I was in Romania. And I want to get into Microsoft, and I want to turn down the engine. Taking a break from the action. I need to step back a little. Surprisingly, yeah, all the action has gotten to me. All the action. Down, and I imagine that we were in one of the new, absolutely cutting edge electric aircraft, electric engine, or aircraft noise. Down to really don't need to hear aircraft. We'll apply and save that. Here I am. Yeah, okay. So yesterday, can't wait to see what you come up with next model. All right, let me try. That's still. What I want to do is go to Neofly and see if that'll pop. what Bushtalk is. I don't know if you talk it does audio tours. It ties into Microsoft Flight Simulator. So as you're flying around, you hit any of these markers. Good, that one's the only one that's working right today. All right, so this is Neofly, and it shows that the last airport we landed in was LRCT. So I said at the start, I made a huge mistake in this program. And what it was is I'm renting this, and it seems that I was already down $1 million, but I forgot to turn my rental plane in. Oh, like weeks that we've been doing other things, flying around Germany, this world, that I should have turned my plane in, because I still believe I'm paying for it daily, the daily rental. If I'm not making over 20 grand a day while just around cash. So here we are close to a place called Turda. If I'd want to live in Turda, and the job's available to close to the never been to this part of the world ever. This is all new to me. Jobs. Cargo. At wherever. I will write. Natural. Okay. Texas. Rest. That's $25,000. No, it's working if the dispatcher comes like the job. If you do not hear the dispatcher, folks, something's done something wrong. You're spawned at the wrong airport. First coming to Neofly. If you don't hear her say "Good morning, Captain," blah blah blah, something's wrong. So you need to always be hearing dispatcher.
Hello, pilot. The cargo is waiting for you at the usual location.
So as we get
Ground crew are loading the cargo. Stand by.
As we get closer to the weekend model, maybe we can hook up. I would like to learn how to create a server or join a server or somehow or another where we can be one-on-one and not have to deal with a map with a bunch of activity going on. I don't know if DCS World that way or, but I know when I go to the German website 89, you know, there's tons of different activities.
Transporter from dispatch. The cargo is on board. You are clear to taxi to the runway and take off.
And even in the dogfight that we go into, we're down low in the map, and there's still a huge map around us, and still a bunch of crap going on all over the map. And I wonder if you could simplify, just create a simple one. Like, look, man, I just want me and model be in a dogfight on a small little map and nothing else. Planes in the area. We don't want a whole lot of crap in the area. We want plain Jane terrain. Just us two fighting, and I would like to be able to mess with my own loadouts. I have not been able to find a way to do my own loadouts yet, other than creating a custom thing. Even then. Okay, so we definitely got our job stock, and they look hangar our job. Hello, Henny. How are you today? I'm taking a break from the action today. I'm going to do down in Romania. Heading take a break from the action. Back to LBAA. Lenovo. $1,100.
You're good to go. Contact the tower for clearance.
You can only change your loadout when being on the ground. I asked for admin to rockets R6, R70 rockets. I was just asking model in the chat room. I wish there was a way we could create a room, like when I spawn onto your map. You spawn down in the lower corner dogfight area, but there's still all these other things going. And I'm wondering if there is a way to find or create your own map with nothing on it, just simple terrain, clear weather, maybe only a couple of 100 miles, and that's it. Not a huge map, small little map, and be able to set your own loadouts and blah. So we're good to go. All right, well, exploring Romania, we've got our test. I was messing around with Nemesis Chicken last night. Online. Chrome. we were using the other program, watch YouTube videos. Whenever I mess with that program, it changes. It has the ability. It has the ability to override Windows authority. And in Windows, it says, do not let any other applications take exclusive control of this microphone. And for whatever reason, their application has super ability, and it's always jacking my microphone. So hopefully you should be hearing me fine now. All the audio levels are back up. Okay. All right. Time to explore Romania. Bushtalk Radio's on. We're logged in. So if we pass any points of interest, dear viewers, we will get an audio play, an audio tour. Last night, I also learned how to create my own custom head tracking profiles. And I created one specifically for the Cessna. I spent most of my evening just fine-tuning and creating one just for the Cessna.
Transporter, have a nice flight.
And it's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And a lot of it has to do with when you're setting up your head tracker. I found out is setting up one thing at a time. For example, your yaw, your pitch, your roll, your X, Y, and Z. All right. So if you disable everything but the one you're working on, you know. So let's just say I'm only working on the ability when my head turns this way and this way. So you disable everything else while you're just working on your head turning left and right. And you set up your parameters and fine tune it. And then turn that one off. Come down here and get us set on our autopilot course here. Set the CDI to GPS. Turn on our autopilot. Slow down a little bit. Pull the flaps up in case they're down. And we're not doing a whole lot of sightseeing with this kind of weather, are we? So let's go ahead and change the weather to clear skies. Looks good. Pretty. All right. Good. All right. So we are in Romania and we are heading south. You found out that you can still use ailerons without wings. In the F-18. You had your wings blown off, but you had your wings blown off, but your ailerons still work. That's funny. That's funny. They got a Bogota, Romania. We can't come up with new names. We got to just rename everything. A new Bogota. Put the separator back in. Yeah, so I found out last night that if you do it quadrant by quadrant, it's easier. There's still some fine tuning I want to do to the 72. So tonight, maybe even during this show on this flight here, I can mess with the head tracker trying to dial in a new, trying to dial in the settings for it. But I'm also having to create. You basically need to create a profile for every aircraft because every one has a different dimension and everyone's got different cockpits and blah, blah, blah. So it's probably a good idea you create a profile for every plane. So tonight I also want to do an A320. Tried doing an A320 flight and it didn't work at all. The dimensions are all wrong and Okay, turning around. Okay, flaps are up. Probably don't need full conditioner. All right, I have to make $25,000. And we are exploring Romania. Double check my stats here in OBS. It's circling the airport. So what's going on in here? Somehow or another, it didn't take the GPS. Let's try it again. Enter. I didn't hit nav. A derp. All right, sir, not a problem. Thank you, as always, for stopping in. Yeah, I know you got stuff to do during the week. Like you had said the other day that, you know, we don't really need to be... you're not really going to be available until Friday or so. Friday in the weekend. Our plans for this Saturday have changed, so I'm open on Saturdays. So maybe if you have some time this weekend on Saturday and Sunday... maybe we can get some more dogfighting in and do a couple of special live streams this weekend. Find out where our plane's at. So something's not right. It doesn't see us as logged in or moving. What's going on here? I'm signed in. This. Okay, so we're heading towards Romania proper. So, directly ahead of us is Fargaris Citadel, historic monument, a monastery. Oh, there's Transylvania. Wow. We can go to Transylvania. I was wondering where Transylvania was. Forgive me, I'm a dumb American. So Transylvania is part of Romania? It seems so. Because this says it's... I wouldn't think so. This is saying this is in Transylvania. Okay, thank you so much for that. So Henning says, yes, Transylvania is in Romania. Not as green as Germany. But still lots and lots of farming going on. Right, that's where Dracula comes from. Yep, exactly. Count Dracula. What an interesting story that is, and how incredibly mythologized it has become. And then people are like, well, people make these movies and like the real story of Dracula, and it's nothing like it whatsoever. It has no bearing on the real Dracula whatsoever. It's all goofy crap. He was a malcontent for sure. Well, that's the way it seems to me. I mean, he had everything. But if I have the history right, and the conflict between the states that was going on, I don't know. He still had his land, and he was still... Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. You have a good day. Cheers. So it seems to me that as a young prince, whether he lived with another guy or not, or whatever... He ended up getting his homeland back and got to rule it all, and then, became a malcontent and wanted to fight, and I don't know. But I don't recall in the real history of Dracula any, blood sucking or changing into bats and stuff. But it's weird. It's so weird when you get the real history and you're like, well, of course it doesn't, But then in history, in real history, there were vampire hunters. That's the strangest thing to me. That in our history, in world history, there were vampire hunters, there were witch hunters, there were demon hunters, there were, It's crazy. So if you're just tuning in, we're back to Microsoft Flight Simulator and Neofly today, and we're in Europe. I'm in Romania, and if you followed my adventures, you know that I'm not adventurous, and I pretty much have always stuck to Colorado in the United States, and these are my first real adventures into other parts of the world. And yeah. The last big trip we did was from Colorado all the way down to the tip of Argentina. Went down through Mexico and made our way through South America, down through everything, went down as far as we could south. I mean, we could have went to Antarctica, but I'm not interested in that. So then to hook up with Henny and Hans, we moved our operations over to Germany, and we started out there and flew around Germany for a week and a half or two, and did some gliding. And not that we're gonna go back and do some of that some more later, but I wanted to start spreading out now and let Neofly determine, where the jobs take me, wherever the jobs take me. So trying not to double back on things and just kind of keep putzing around going forward, seeing where the jobs take us. Now we're heading south. And again, that's where we're at in the map. There's Romania. Ukraine is over here. That's in the news a lot. Why did everything suddenly become Cyrillic? The language. Moldova, you don't hear a lot about that. They remain pretty quiet. It's not every day you hear a news story like today in Moldova. Settings. Don't they have... Whatever. Pretty neat. It's pretty neat feature. They got some nice maps, nice overlays. Kind of a neat view. We've got no tour for this place. Medius. Medius is one of the best preserved historical center. Okay, let's pause here then. What are they saying? Medius is located in the middle of the Tarnava Mare River, 39 kilometers, blah, blah, blah. The health resort Banza, officially recognized for the first time in 1302, is 18 kilometers, blah, blah, blah. The health resort offers mineral water springs rich in salts, mineral mud, and a special type of salt called Bosna salt. First sign of human communities in the area are thought to be from the Middle Neolithic period. The name of the city comes from the Hungarian word megi, sour cherry. The Romanian name originates in the German version, which comes from the Hungarian name Medgiz. In the 13th century, the King of Hungary invited German settlers known as Transylvania Saxons to the area, who settled in the valley of the Tarna Mare River. According to tradition, the town was founded in 1146, thus being one of the oldest cities in Transylvania. Here would have lived around 100 inhabitants. The first documents that mention the city as Medicis dated 3rd of June, 1267. Another reference appears in a document. Medius is listed by the blah, blah, blah. The Hungarian king, Charles Robert of Anjou, offers complete rights for the Cebu region to the people living in Medius. St. Margaret Church was the first church built in Medius. In 1705, the city was besieged for the last time in its history. Okay. This place has been around forever. Transylvanian Saxons. Colonia Tarnava, so that still holds the old name. Get that right? I'm in my chat. speed up a little bit. We're definitely not going as fast as we could be going. I pulled back a little too much on the throttle, I think. There we go. This is the plane we need, boys. Really. I mean, fighter planes are all fancy and all that. Yeah, sure. But this is the type of plane we're going to need. If we're not going to move up to like the DC-3, sorry. It's a shame that these are so darn expensive, because this is the plane that every soccer mom and dad needs. Right anymore. We're Americans and people in general much bigger these days. A 4-seater, everybody's just too heavy to do any significant flying. So you're going to need something with more power, and you're going to need something with more space. And could you imagine having fun customizing the inside of this thing to be more like an RV? I mean, now we're talking fun. I would love to customize the exterior as well as the interior. There are things that I would really like to get on a plane like this. I really enjoy the Bush airplanes because of their shock absorber systems and their tires. Right? So even though you've got a cool plane like this, which, I mean, you could totally use it as a RV and live in. But if we look at her from the outside, you know, she's not made really to be an off-road vehicle. So I would want something like this, but we need to get a modification. We need the Baja Racing 80-mile-an-hour suspension, McPherson struts and suspension system on all of this. And we need much bigger Bush Pilot wheels. I wonder if you're rich, you can do stuff like that. You can go down to like Cessna, and you're like, look, I need this plane, but I've got to be able to take it off road. I need to do all of this stuff, and I need better lift. I mean, we got to consider maybe a little bit different wing system here. I'm going to need a lot more immediate lift power in the flaps for super short takeoffs. Not that this engine can't really do it now, if you really aren't loaded, but that's, again, if you're not loaded down. With full flaps on this thing, she's pretty impressive. But the idea is you're going to be loaded down, so it's like, oh, yes, of course. And you have money. And, because I haven't seen just what I'm looking for. And if they would actually help you, you know, find something, or if they can make something for you these days, and it not be an experimental. Let me just look it up, see if there's a Bush Pilot Caravan. with Bush Pilot. Do. Need to find somebody. Modified. Oh, they have a mod for this, but for the simulator. Let's see here. What does this do? An EX improvement mod. A community mod for the Cessna 280B Grand Caravan EX, which aims to fix many of the issues present in the stock version. Feel free to contribute to this mod. This mod isn't working. If there's a conflict with another mod. So they fixed it so that the reverse thrust is strengthened and has a noticeable effect. 4 minutes of engine overstress operating above maximum torque causes CAS message about metal chips in the oil and increasing probability of engine failure. More control while taxiing, tighter turning in circles, better electrical system. It's got an anti-ice system. The yaw damper works. Okay. All upgrades, Black Hawk Aerospace. Nice, some mountains.
175, Kinneas 21. Goodbye. Bucharest Center, Kinneas 2110,500 feet.
Kinneas 21, Bucharest Center, altimeter 29.92 radar contact, continue.
Ah, we just missed that place over here.
Fagras Citadel is a historic monument in Fagras, Romania. The construction of the fortress started in 1310, on the site of a wooden fortification with earth ramparts from the 12th century. Archaeological research shows that the old fortification was violently destroyed around the middle of the 13th century, presumably in connection with the Mongol invasion of 1241. Located halfway between Brasov and Sibiu and close to Wallachia, the Fagras Citadel provided a defensive position against possible incursions into southeastern Transylvania.
I see. Okay. So over here, to our left is going to be this mountain range here.
Moldavanu Peak, at 2,544 meters, is the highest mountain peak in Romania. It is located in Argeș County, in the Fagras Mountains of the Southern Carpathians. The most popular routes to reach Moldavanu are over the Vistia Mare, by paths coming from Podrigiu, Sambata, or by the Vistia Valley. The closest settlement on the north side is Victoria and on the south side, Campu Lung. In December 2019, Moldavanu was selected as the name for the star EXO-1 located 536 light-years away in the constellation Corona Borealis, a star that has been confirmed to host an exoplanet.
So, just to the, keep going over here, is another mountain range just on the other side.
The Transfagrasan or DN7C is a paved mountain road crossing the southern section of the Carpathian Mountains of Romania. It has national road ranking and is the second highest paved road in the country after the Transalpina. It starts near the village of Baskov, near Pitești, and stretches 90 kilometers to the crossroad between the DN1 and Sibiu, between the highest peaks in the country, Moldavanu and Negou. The road, built in the early 1970s as a strategic military route, connects the historic regions of Transylvania and Wallachia.
Oh, you know what? According to this map, Dracula's castle is ahead. I'm not kidding. Okay, so look at this. We're here, going this way, and the next landmark on Bushtalk is here.
Bran Castle is a castle in Bran, 25 kilometers southwest of Brasov. It is a national monument and landmark in Romania. The fortress is on the Transylvanian side of the historical border with Wallachia, on road DN73. Commonly known outside Romania as Dracula's Castle, it is often erroneously referred to as the home of the title character in Bram Stoker's Dracula. There is no evidence that Stoker knew anything about this castle, which has only tangential associations with Vlad the Impaler, voivode of Wallachia, the putative inspiration for Dracula. Dutch author Hans Corneel de Roos proposes as location for Castle Dracula an empty mountain top, Mount IJsval Kalamanului, 2,033 meters high, located in the Kalamani Alps near the former border with Moldavia. Stoker's description of Dracula's crumbling fictional castle also bears no resemblance to Bran Castle. The castle is now a museum dedicated to displaying art and furniture collected by Queen Marie. Tourists can see the interior on their own or by a guided tour. At the bottom of the hill is a small open-air museum exhibiting traditional Romanian peasant structures from the Bran region.
All right, so I've changed our heading. So that we can fly to what they call Dracula's Castle. All right. Put that in the show notes. All right. So we should be now. Let me double check. Yeah.
Kinneas 2-1, you're leaving my airspace. Resume own navigation. Contact approach on 118.63. Good day.
118.63, Kinneas 2-1. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Kinneas 2-1, 13,100 feet.
Kinneas, 2-1 approach altimeter 29er, decimal 9er 2 radar contact continue.
$13,000. Well, let's come down to 10 at least. All right, let's check the map, find out where we're at. What it says here. We're pretty much on a course right for Dracula's Castle. I could change a few degrees. There's 4 degrees. Another degree or 2. So down in this valley, and over to our left there. All right, let's come down some more. All right, so this is all Dracula's territory. Okay. That is where we're at, and there's the castle. It'd be right in front of us. That's probably it on the marker up ahead there.
Bran Castle is a castle in Bran, 25 kilometers southwest of Brasov. It is a national monument and landmark in Romania. The fortress is on the Transylvanian side of the historical border with Wallachia, on road DN73. Commonly known outside Romania as Dracula's Castle, it is often erroneously referred to as the home of the title character in Bram Stoker's Dracula. There is no evidence that Stoker knew anything about this castle, which has only tangential associations with Vlad the Impaler, voivode of Wallachia, the putative inspiration for Dracula. Dutch author Hans Corneel de Roos proposes as location for Castle Dracula an empty mountain top, Mount IJsval Kalamanului, 2,033 meters high, located in the Kalamani Alps near the former border with Moldavia. Stoker's description of Dracula's crumbling fictional castle also bears no resemblance to Bran Castle. The castle is now a museum dedicated to displaying art and furniture collected by Queen Marie. Tourists can see the interior on their own or by a guided tour. At the bottom of the hill is a small open-air museum exhibiting traditional Romanian peasant structures from the Bran region.
We'll have to make another circle. We're starting to overspeed. But we have found it, folks. We have found the location of the mythologized place of Dracula's castle. Pretty cool. I don't see any castle, but and I don't see any castle at that location.
500. Stall. Stall.
I don't know that I'm in the right spot. I think that might just be the town. We try to look on the map and get myself a little bit over where they're saying that it is. All right, they're saying it should be here.
500.
Ba-ba. Check. All right, they're saying it should be off our right down there on the river. I would imagine that would be the location of it up on the hill, but I don't know. I think that's supposed to be the location. But you know how Microsoft Flight Simulator is. If they don't have it built into the game as a location, you don't get to see it. Fortunately, you get to see what the map shows underneath. And I mean, that looks like a prime location for a castle, but it's too far. Yeah, well, either way, we're here. We're in the right spot. So maybe in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Usually at Halloween, I know in Halloween they've had us do some landing challenges over here at a nearby airport. Closest thing looking like a castle around here is right down there below us. But that's just in the middle of town. Okay. Well, at least we came and tried to find it, and you know, we're here. We found it, so how far is our job now? 47 minutes, so we need to get back up and get some altitude to get back up over these mountains and then get back on course. So, unpause, give her the beans, get some altitude. we'll put it back on nav. Got to pop it back on. On nav. Reestablish. Direct, enter. Okay. And we'll leave altitude off. Of course, they're going to put us right in line with the highest mountains in the area. Right, we've got to go right over. Let's see. Come on. Take us to the side, please. I don't want to go over the tallest mountain. I don't have to climb that hard. Yikes. Yeah, that ain't happening. Turn off nav. We'll have to we will have to reacquire on the other side. Just tuning in, Dracula's Castle ended up being a bust. There's nothing there. Well, nothing that has been built into the game that we can see as a castle. They haven't taken any time to go in and hand create that one. That's a drag. Kind of like with all the pyramids down in Mexico. It's a real shame, and I'm really hoping with 2024 they're included, or we finally get our Ancient Aliens pack and they put all the cool pyramids. We are on a Neofly job for $25,000 in Romania, first time here. And we're going around these super tall peaks trying to get to our job. Get back on track for our job here. I'll get us back into GPS sightseeing mode here in a moment.
The Bucegi Mountains are located in central Romania, south of the city of Brașov. They are part of the Southern Carpathians group of the Carpathian Mountains. At 2,505 meters, Omu is its highest point. To the east, the Bucegi Mountains have a very steep slope towards the popular tourist destinations in the Prahova Valley, such as Bushten and Sinaia. At a higher elevation is the Bucegi Plateau, where wind and rain have turned the rocks into spectacular figures such as the Sphinx and Babele. The Bucegi is believed to be the Dacian holy mountain Koganon, on which the god Zalmoxis resided in a cave.
Wow. How'd you like to have that in your town's description? Hey, you know, not too far from here. Got the cave of a god. He's pretty cool as gods go. Comes down, has a beer with us every now and then. But we tell him we got running water and Wi-Fi and all this. Nah, he likes his cave. That's the way he is. Somebody's got a... There's something right on the top of that hill over there. Somebody's got a house, or it's a observatory or an installation of some kind.
The Cantacuzino Castle is situated on Zamora Street in Bushten, Romania. The building, whose construction was completed in 1911, was conducted by the architect Gregory Searches at the request of Prince George Grigore Cantacuzino. It is built in Neo-Romanian style. The total surface of the estate is over 3,000 square meters. The estate is surrounded by a park with paths that lead to a waterfall grotto and artisanal fountains. In the central pavilion is a collection of unique Romanian heraldry representing the families allied with the Cantacuzino family, as well as portraits of the family members. The castle belonged to the Cantacuzino family until the forced nationalization of 1948, when it became a preventorium for the Ministry of Internal Affairs. During the communist period, the original furniture was removed and a part of the interior walls were painted over. After 1989, the castle was returned to Cantacuzino descendants, who sold it to private investors in 2004. The castle underwent restoration work and today it is open to the public.
Of course, the communists came in and took their shit. You can't have a castle, that's not right. We're going to turn it into our government offices. That's only fair, right? Communist man. Then they finally get it back to the original owners who now can't afford anything. They have to sell it then.
Kinneas 21, contact Bucharest Center on 118.175. Good day.
118.175.
All right, let's see if we can get back on track now.
Goodbye.
Turn back on the autopilot.
Bucharest Center, Kinneas,
Hit nav.
300 feet.
Kinneas 21, Bucharest Center altimeter 29.902 radar contact. Continue.
And we should be in the clear at this alt. Yep. All right, we can be a little bit more. Where's my mouse? Did we freeze? Don't crash. Good. All right, how are we doing on fuel? It could be better, but I think we'll get there. We don't need to be going this balls fast, so let's just bring it there. All right. Happy Tuesday to you. Hope you're having a good day. I hope you're enjoying your flying activities. I know Model is in DCS World today. Henning is off doing Henning things and is not flying today. And I just kind of needed a break from the action. I just needed a day of just some slow flying again. And it's a good thing too, because it reminds me that if I don't check in on the Neofly and just step away for a couple weeks, it seems like it's still charging me for the plane rental every day. So got to be careful about that. Try to make sure I at least make like 20 grand a day to offset it, which isn't very hard. Just like this run right here, this will be a 25,000. In my hometown, there's so many short jobs to do that, I mean, you can make 20 grand in 30 minutes easy. So many short little hops. They sure have a lot of little points of interest down there today. I wish we could adjust the distance at that point of interest show. Wish we could make them better, and wish we could put highlighted colors behind them. They're very difficult to read at times, and if you're low and you're looking up towards the sky, it's white on white, and it makes it even harder to see. So they need to have highlighted, like, you know, a yellow on black or something, a black background. Odoo long. Yeah, I needed a break from the all the action. And last night I spent most of my time working with the head tracking software. I didn't really want to get into that today. Maybe when I'm a little bit faster with it. But if you're going to use the free head tracking stuff like Open Tracker in conjunction with anything else, I honestly don't think you're going to be happy until you create your own custom profiles. So I downloaded several people's profiles, and they work all right. But I was so disappointed overall, and I found myself mucking about with the controls so much that I thought it was more trouble than it's worth. So I sat down last night, and I got into the one I normally fly, the Cessna 172. And I went through a full setup, vector, what do they call it, quadrant by quadrant. So you got your pitch, your roll, your yaw, then you have an X, Y, and Z. And I learned how to set up everyone individually. Let me try to explain. So let's say I'm just turning my head from left to right. So I isolate only the left to right head turn movements, and I dial that in. And once I've dialed left and right in, disable that, go to up and down. So when I raise my head up and lower my chin down, and then just work on that one. Isolate it and just work on head tilt. Disable it. Go to your next thing. Body twist or whatever. So I think you'll be much happier if you do it that way. Isolate every quadrant that you need to work on. Disable everything but the quadrant that you're working on. And then for every plane, you know, again, maybe you don't want to turn your head. You'll never need to turn your head all the way around to look entirely behind you, right? And it's learning how to set those mappings up to where you're comfortable with. Look, I don't even want to turn my head fully all the way to the right or to the left. I wanted to understand when I just turn my head a bit, left or right, that it will go to the spot that I want it to go to. This won't make any sense until you start doing it yourself. But then once you start making your own custom profiles, you'll totally get it. Okay? So yeah, and it started becoming much more comfortable. And then dialing in dead zones and sensitivities and yada, yada, yada. So I've got the Cessna 172 set up pretty good to where, you know, just a slight twist of my head to the left or to the right on a small delay. It will then move as far as I want it to move to look completely out the right side of the left side window. And then if I really turn my head over to the side, then I've got it set up to go beyond that and then go ahead and look over and towards the back more. Again, this won't make much sense to you until you start doing it. So the bottom line is you're not going to be happy, I don't think, with any head tracking software until you commit to learning how to create your own custom profiles for every airplane. Because every airplane's dimensions on the inside and where you want to be looking it's all different. So what I mean by that is I had the 172 dialed in, then I loaded up the Airbus. And it's not at all the same. It you know, where I'm looking and where my head needs to be at. And then there's also the like leaning forward and backward. Let's say I'm in the cockpit here and I want to, I don't have it on right now, but when I lean my head forward, when I lean my body forward, as if I'm leaning forward to look at this here, by default, when I lean my body forward, it's shooting me way out here over the nose and over the dash. And it's like, that's not where I want to be. I mean, if I raise my head up, sure. If I lift my chin and then lean forward, yeah, I don't mind being here. But by default, I'm not usually not doing that. By default, when I lean forward, I'm trying to look at what's going on here.
118.8 Kinneas 21. Goodbye.
So having to mess with the control settings. So when you lean in, where do you want your head to look? So again, until you create your own custom profiles, you're not going to be happy. I finally got it dialed into where all you got to do is lean forward an inch or two, and it snaps right to there. Same with if I'm just tilting my body slightly to the right and I turn my head just slightly, I don't want to snap it all the way over here. I want it to be right there, and I want to, if I lean forward, I want it to go right there. So these are all things that you have to tweak in the head tracking software. But I think once you get it and once you play with it, and the more I play with it, I think the more I'm going to enjoy it. Because the first 2 days just messing around with head tracker default settings, I wasn't happy at all. More trouble than it was worth. You know, and I don't, you know, I didn't want you to see me just my head constantly bouncing around. It wasn't enjoyable for me, and I imagined it would have been horrible for you as the user or as the watcher to see it in that state. I like it. I set it up last night so when I do lean this way, lean my body, I can lean my body now right over to the edge of the window, and then I can still just raise my chin or lower my chin, and I can see right down. Getting fun. So I'm going to continue that later in the afternoon. Messing with the I need to set up the A320. I want to start doing some more A320 flights, some airliner flights. I haven't done any of those in a while, and I'm starting to get rusty, and I don't want to get rusty doing airliner flights. And now that I know what I'm doing, I need to go back into DCS World and really nail the SU-25 settings for dogfighting. So I tried dogfighting this weekend with Hans and Henning, and I still don't know enough. And but I was able to get 2 kills. So they killed me like 100 times, but I managed to get 2 kills, and that's an accomplishment for me. So pretty happy. I am officially a threat, even though I'm a very small threat. I'm still a threat now. And once I get all the head tracking stuff in and start watching and training a little bit more on the dogfight videos, get some techniques under me, that it's going to start getting fun. So probably this Friday or Saturday, looks like we might be setting up some dogfighting if you'd like to get in on that. I don't think that they'd mind you joining the server and getting it on. So I know we got a couple of folks out there like Model and Dot and others that want to get into it. So see if we can't get a big furball going. If you're coming in from Twitter and you have a YouTube account and you need a subscriber, it doesn't matter if you're producing content or not. We all start somewhere. Please take a moment to say hi or anything in the chat room. I can then quickly click on your name and go to channel and subscribe. Makes it really easy. If you are a YouTube flight simulator person, and I'm currently not following you, especially if you're a YouTube live streamer or video maker and I'm not following you, please say hi. And so I can fix that right away. Get over there and subscribe to you. How are we doing? We are 31 minutes away from our target. We're at the in the southern half of Romania. Let me pull up the Bushtalk map and let's find out where we're at. There was the location of Dracula's castle. We've come south. We're doing good. We're already down here. Boy Esti. Coming up in front of us, Lake Saganov should be directly ahead of us. Doesn't seem like a lake. Seems like a long stretch of river. Okay, whatever. Okay, so Bucharest. I always heard about it. You know, don't know much about it. But Bucharest is right over here. We have an international airport, a zoo, 2 international airports very close to each other. The Socialist Republic of Romania, okay, whatever. We have an Arc de Triomphe there too. Museum of Natural History. Fire Tower. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and divert off our course and turn it about 220 degrees. Take it out of nav. And now it's just to the south. Let's just turn to the south. And now we don't need to be so high, so
Snigov is a lake in Snigov commune, about 25 to 30 kilometers north of Bucharest, Romania. It has a surface of only 5.75 square kilometers, but due to its elongated shape it stretches for about 12 kilometers, northeast to southwest. Lake Snigov as well as the nearby Snigov forest is a protected natural area. Snigov Lake has about 150 hectares in size and protect about 20 species. Snigov Forest has about 10 hectares. For both of them is required further help and assistance to preserve the biodiversity. Snigov Monastery is situated on an islet near the lake's northeastern end, just across Snigov Stadium. An isolated island monastery in the middle of Lake Snigov houses the Vlad the Impaler's purported final resting place.
Really? So we found Dracula's burial. Wonder if that's the spot over there. An islet. Either way, just by random flying around, we found the burial location of Vlad the Impaler. We're doing 5,000 feet. All right, coming up directly to our 11 o'clock is the site of a crash.
Terram Flight 371 was a scheduled international passenger flight with an Airbus A310 from
no.
Airport in Romania's capital Bucharest to Brussels Airport. The flight was operated by Terram, the flag carrier of Romania. On the 31st of March 1995, the Airbus A310-324 entered a nose-down dive after takeoff and crashed near Balatesti in Romania. All 60 people aboard, 49 passengers and 11 crew members were killed in the crash. Investigation of the crash revealed that the faulty autothrottle reduced the left engine to idle during climb. While this was happening, the captain became incapacitated, leaving the first officer overwhelmed and unable to respond properly to the failure. The crash was the deadliest plane crash in Terram's and Romania's history. Investigators discovered that there was a problem with the automatic throttle system ATS, which controls the throttle of aircraft's engines. It was discovered that during the aircraft climb after takeoff, engine number 1 had a tendency to go back to idle when switching from takeoff power to climb power. The reason was unknown. After maintenance action taken by ground crew, the malfunction did not occur again until the 16th of March 1995. However, the ground crew warned about the possible recurrence of the malfunction. From the aircraft history record obtained from the FAA, a similar malfunction had been reported during its operation with Delta Airlines. Delta performed the same actions that Terram did. In March 1995, a criminal investigation was started by the prosecutor's office attached to Bucharest Tribunal with the objective of establishing the circumstances of the air crash. Since then, the case remains unsolved, and in 2008, at the request of Prosecutor General, has been revealed that the case files went missing completely.
What?
Situated 16.5 kilometers north of Bucharest center, Henri Coanda International Airport is the largest Romanian airport. The airport is named after Romanian flight pioneer Henri Coanda, the creator of the first jet aircraft in the world.
Wow.
He was interested in the phenomenon of deviating a fluid into another, also known as Coanda effect. In 1910, in the workshop of Gianni Caproni, he designed and built an aircraft known as the Coanda 1910, which he displayed publicly at the Second International Aeronautics Salon in Paris that year. The aircraft used a 4-cylinder piston engine to power a rotary compressor which was intended to propel the craft by a combination of suction at the front and airflow out the rear instead of using a propeller. During World War II, the airport in Otopeni was used as an airbase by the German Air Force. Until 1965, it was a major airfield for the Romanian Air Force, with Băneasa Airport serving as Bucharest's commercial airport. In 1965, with the growth of air traffic, the Otopeni airbase was converted to a commercial airport. The runway was modernized and extended to 3,500 meters, making it one of the longest in Europe at that time.
The birthplace of the first jet engine. Who would have thought we would have stumbled on that today? Let's see if I can turn up the graphics a bit here. Not much. All right. Yeah, the birthplace of the first jet engine. Let's see what else is around here. So that is where we're at. There's the airport right there. Okay, so the next thing is a park, a forest.
Băneasa Forest is a green escape in the north of Bucharest. Covering 2,000 acres, the ground is known for being the go-to location for grill, beer and music enthusiasts. One of the most favorite dish among locals is traditional mici, also known as the little ones. After the Romanian Revolution of 1989 and the end of Romania's communist era, a large portion of the area was transferred from state property back to private persons, who had obtained judicial recognition of their family deeds. According to a 2007 estimate in the national newspaper, some 24,700 acres had been reassigned through this process. As a consequence, Băneasa Forest also became a site for real estate development, which was reportedly done at the limit of legality or against the law, and involved several Romanian public figures. According to a 2008 report by Cotidianul newspaper, among the latter were influential businessmen and politicians. Băneasa Forest is the setting for Mircea Eliade's novel The Forbidden Forest. The story takes place between 1936 and 1948 in Bucharest and several other European cities, and follows a Romanian man who is on a spiritual quest while being torn between two women. The book was written between the years 1949 and 1954. It contains several elements and themes which also appear in the author's scholarly work, such as initiation rites and the division between sacred and profane time. Eliade himself considered The Forbidden Forest to be his best work. It received little response from the academic world upon the initial publication.
Cleared through Charlie airspace, Kinneas 2-1.
Okay.
Kinneas 2-1, you're leaving my airspace. Resume own navigation. Contact approach on 119er.
So that's this area of forest right here in front of us here.
Going to 119er, decimal 415, Kinneas 2-1. Approach Kinneas 2-1, 2,200 feet.
Kinneas, 2-1 approach altimeter 29er, decimal 902 radar.
All this here.
Approach Kinneas 2-1. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
Kinneas, 2-1 approach. Clear to the Charlie airspace.
Okay.
Through Charlie airspace, Kinneas 2-1.
We're at another airport here. Let me pause. Okay.
The Aurel Vlaisu International Airport is located in Băneasa district, north of the city center. Named after Aurel Vlaisu, a Romanian engineer, inventor, airplane constructor, and early pilot, it was Bucharest's only airport until 1969, when the Autopen Airport, today Henri Coanda International Airport, was opened to civilian use. The current terminal building was designed in the late 1940s and opened in 1952. At that time, it was considered one of the finest architectural features of Bucharest. The building consists of a central dome with three distinct wings which represents an airplane propeller with three blades. Aurel Vlaisu is known as the founder of Romanian aviation. His first airplane, which he named A Vlaisu No. 1, was ready in the summer of 1910. His airplane's first flight took place on July 17, 1910, in the presence of Prince Charles I. He flew about 40 to 50 meters and reached a height of 3 to 4 meters, which for those times was revolutionary. In 1912, he showcased his invention at the International Aviation Contest in Aspen, Austria. Vlasu's airplane impressed the jury through its simplicity and the ease with which it was flown. It came in third, obtaining 5 prizes. Another important success of Aurel Vlasu was the building of the first ever airplane made entirely out of metal. He built it for the English company called Marconi, and it had 2 seats.
Wow. All right, so Microsoft, it's not a custom-built job here, the airport itself, and I don't have the custom content for it, but it does match the shape. So they said that it's in the shape of an airplane with the wings and blah, 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 but the dome's missing, and it's just a generic thing to match it. Okay, let's see what else is around here. So if we keep traveling along this road, next thing is...
The capital of the country is not only a city that impresses with architecture and history, but also one in which you will be able to enjoy outdoor walks in the most beautiful parks. Of these, the most popular park is Herăstrău, built on the lake with the same name, in 1936. It is not only the largest park in Romania but also the largest park located inside a city in Europe. King Michael I Park, or Herăstrău Park, is considered the most spectacular and the most visited park in Bucharest. Quite simply, this glorious park, spread over 462 acres around Herăstrău Lake, is one of the jewels in Bucharest's crown, which might explain why so many locals spend their summer Sunday afternoons here. The King Mihai I Park is both the ideal place for a romantic meeting but also perfect for relaxing walks. Boats or hydro bicycles can be rented to sail on the lake, or you could pay a visit to the Herăstrău Aquarium. The Japanese Garden, which houses some of the most beautiful specimens in the park, such as cherry blossoms and Japanese acacia may also be visited. The area of the park has been inhabited since the Paleolithic, traces of settlements being found at the Herăstrău sand quarry, including flint tools made by the Mysterian culture, a culture generally associated with the Neanderthals. During the Quaternary glaciation, the area was inhabited by large mammals such as the woolly rhinoceros and the mammoth, bones of the latter being found in the Herăstrău sand quarry. Prince of Wallachia Alexander Ypsilantis built an Ottoman-style pavilion on the banks of the Herăstrău Lake. The plain along the lake was used in 1831, during the Russian occupation, for military exercises by a joint force of the Wallachian and Russian militaries. By the mid-19th century, Herăstrău was the main promenade area used by the Romanian elite for walks.
Very nice. Yeah, it's definitely huge. We're behind us.
Dimitri Gusti Village Museum opened in 1936 to show the way of life in different...
We won't be able to see that. You know, we might get... You know, there'll be a building there for sure, but, you know, not something we're going to really be able to see. I don't know about this one either. The Arc of Triumph for this place.
The Arch of Triumph is a triumphal arch located in the northern part of Bucharest, on the Kizilf Road. The first, wooden, triumphal arch was built hurriedly, after Romania gained its independence in 1878, so that the victorious troops could march under it. Another arch with concrete skeleton and plaster exterior of elaborate sculptures and decoration designed by Petre Antonescu was built on the same site after World War I in 1922. The arch exterior, which had seriously decayed, was replaced in 1935 by the current much more sober neoclassical design, more closely modeled in the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. The new arch, also designed by Petre Antonescu and executed in stone, was inaugurated on the 1st of December 1936. The arch has a height of 27 meters. It has as its foundation a 25 by 11.50 meters rectangle. The sculptures with which the facades are decorated were created by famous Romanian sculptors such as Ion Jalia and Dimitri Peciuria. Presently, military parades are held beneath the arch each the 1st of December, with the occasion of Romania's national holiday. Elisabeta Palace, the current residence of the Romanian royal family, is located near the Arch of Triumph in Herăstrău Park.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're seeing that one. We don't have an updated, detailed map of this city. Natural History Museum is directly ahead of us. The railway station. That's the museum. Palace. If we follow this road, there's the railway station. So the palace should be basically, well, easy.
Bucharest North Railway Station is the main railway station in Bucharest and the largest railway station in Romania. The vast majority of mainline trains to and from Bucharest originate from Gara de Nord. The station was built between 1868 and 1872, with the foundation stone being set on September 10, 1868 in the presence of Carol I of Romania. The building is designed as a U-shaped structure. The first railways between Roman, Galati, Bucharest and Pitești were put in service on the 13th of September 1872. Between 1895 and 1896 a new wing of the station was built, which included a royal hall, due to the visit of Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria-Hungary. The station and its surroundings were heavily bombed by the Allies in April 1944 during a campaign aimed at the Axis supply lines, since the station played an important part in the Romanian railway network and was the main departure point for troops headed to the Eastern Front. Under communist times, the station received a number of upgrades, such as a footbridge in the 50s, partial electrification on the 16th of February 1969, and then an expansion between 1978 and 1984 and complete electrification. It is still upgraded as of today, having received a platform overhaul, removal of the footbridge, replaced with the Basarab overpass in 2009 and, in 2018, replacement of the original split-flap displays with LED ones. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the station hosted Ukrainian refugees. During the first day, almost 100 Ukrainian refugees arrived with 5 trains owned by the state operation and came from the direction of Iași and Suceava. On March 4, 2022, at midnight, about 1,000 refugees arrived from Iași with a train with 11 wagons, which were later transported by several buses.
This place is huge, man. My fat fingers. The palace. See what it says about this place.
The Palace of the Parliament, also known as the Republic's House, reaches a height of 84 meters and a volume of 2,550,000 cubic meters. The building was designed and supervised by Chief Architect Anca Petrescu, with a team of approximately 700 architects, and constructed over a period of 13 years in socialist, realist and modernist neoclassical architectural forms. The palace was ordered by Nicolae Ceausescu, the communist dictator of Romania and the second of two long ruling heads of state in the country since World War II, during a period in which the personality cult of political worship and adoration increased considerably for him and his family. Known for its ornate interior composed of 23 sections, the palace houses the two chambers of the Parliament of Romania, the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies, along with 3 museums and an international conference center. The museums in the palace are the National Museum of Contemporary Art, the Museum of Communist Totalitarianism and the Museum of the Palace. Construction of the palace began in 1984 and was initially scheduled for completion in 2 years. The project was extended to 1990, but remains uncompleted to this day. Only 2 large meeting rooms and 400 others have been finished or are even being used, out of a total of 1,100. The building has 8 underground levels, the deepest housing a nuclear bunker, linked to main state institutions by 20 kilometers of tunnel.
Oh, but they got that built.
The Palace of the Parliament is the heaviest building in the world, weighing about 4,098,500 tons. Between 20,000 and 100,000 people worked on the site and project, operating in 3 shifts made up of 5,000 Romanian People's Army soldiers and huge numbers of forced volunteers. Many lives were lost during the construction of the building. In 2006, the building costs were estimated at $3 billion.
You know, isn't that typical? I mean, you think of like, well, communist-run places, right? We'll have it paid for, and we'll have it built by this time. Oh, we weren't able to get it finished, and it's going to cost us this much more, and it's going to and it, that's just typical. Oh, we've only completed 400 rooms, but now there's this big site over here that's beyond it, and it looks like an archaeological site. And here's what it says about this area here. That's a location of a cathedral, but we don't have any detailed 3D imagery of it.
The People's Salvation Cathedral, also known as the National Cathedral, is an Orthodox cathedral in Bucharest that is meant to become the patriarchal cathedral of the Romanian Orthodox Church. It is the tallest and largest Orthodox church in the world by volume. It is the largest Eastern Orthodox church in the world by area, according to the full church criterion, and the second in the world including the partial church criterion. It is located in central Bucharest on Spiria's Hill, facing the same courtyard as the Palace of the Parliament, which is the heaviest building in the world, the cathedral having the 10th part of its weight. The standard ground level of the People's Salvation Cathedral above the Black Sea is 86.2 meters. At 135 meters, the cathedral holds a dominant position in Bucharest's cityscape and is visible from all approaches to the city. The cathedral is dedicated to the Ascension of Christ and to Saint Andrew the Apostle, protector of Romania. The cathedral was consecrated on the 25th of November 2018 by the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople Bartholomew I, Patriarch Daniel of Romania and Metropolitan Chrysostomos of Patras from the Greek Orthodox Church. On the same day as the consecration, the very first church service of the cathedral took place and was led by both Patriarch Bartholomew and Patriarch Daniel. The first patronal feast of the People's Salvation Cathedral was celebrated on the 30th of November, on the day of St. Andrew I called, and the liturgy was officiated by Patriarch Theophilus III of Jerusalem and Patriarch Daniel of Romania. The first Te Deum of the cathedral was celebrated on the 1st of December 2018.
So yeah, we get the communist site, but we don't get the cathedral. That's also typical. Another museum beyond that, and space green. All right, some more forests and some more parks. And a museum. And that's kind of what they got for us for Bucharest. A fire tower over that way. Let's hear about this battle.
The Battle of Bucharest was the last battle of the Romanian campaign of 1916 in World War I, in which the Central Powers combatants, led by General Erich von Falkenhayn, occupied the Romanian capital and forced the Romanian government, as well as the remnants of the Romanian army, to retreat to Moldavia and re-establish its capital at Iași. The battle was of defensive nature, as the Romanian army was joined by a part of the Imperial Russian army. The Romanian army had previously been unable to stop the German counterattack in Muntenia. The armed forces that made up the German counterattack were mostly German, two armed groups attacking concentrically, one from the direction of Oltenia and the other from the south of the Danube. The sheer number of troops involved, as well as the large area of operations, make it one of the most complex battles fought on Romanian soil during the war. The battle took place between 13 December and the 16th of December 1916. At the same time, between 14 December and the 19th of December 1916, the Battle of Argeș took place. There, the Bulgarian and German armies led by General August von Mackensen reported a glorious victory. After the battle, minor actions were fought in the fortifications surrounding Bucharest between the invading Germans and the Romanian reserves. The city was eventually occupied by the Central Powers on the 6th of December. However, in spite of the human, material and military efforts made by the Central Powers throughout this period, they failed to achieve their fundamental political and strategic goal, namely Romania's defeat and out of the war. Despite heavy casualties, some 250,000 men, which were almost one-third of the manpower mobilized in August 1916, and losses of combat material, the Romanian army was still a force taken into consideration by allies and enemies alike, capable to resist to further attacks. Bucharest was eventually liberated after the Central Powers' surrender in 1918.
We're a terrible people, man. History, man. Violent, bloody, horrible. All right. If you're just tuning in, Dracula's castle was a bust. There wasn't anything there. I mean, nothing mapped or hand created for us to see. So that was a bust. We did find the burial place of Dracula, not too far behind us, and got to see the place where the first jet engine was created and the airport associated with that. That palace back there, that's a monstrosity. It's very pretty, don't get me wrong, but, you know, communists. Communists doing communist things, man. You don't all wise up. We're going to have a lot of communists running the place around here. I mean, they're already here. I mean, they've already got us locked down. Everything's a police state. It's even a police state with your apps and software these days. Man, why do I need, 10 levels of verification every time I turn on YouTube or open up something? Or if I forget a password, my God, If you forget a password these days, let us send a message to your phone and this and that and enter these keys and enter this code. And is it you? My God. It's just so crazy. Nobody can afford anything. We've got the lowest IQ Congress I think we've ever had. One of the lowest IQ Congresses we've ever had. And they're over there. Man. 240 years of lawmakers, and we still put people in there every couple of years to keep making laws. What do we need any more laws for? You think after 250 years, you think we had enough laws? I mean, can we only convene them when, like, oh my God, maybe this actually requires a new law, this one thing. Like, let's deal with the artificial intelligence, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that one thing that we should come in and talk about it. Creating clones and superhumans. Yeah, maybe that's something we should probably think about regulating and making some laws for. Other than that, man, what do we need? I don't understand why we need the systems that we need anymore. These bureaucracies are ridiculous, and people lord over us now. And everything's corrupt. And gets worse by the day. All these people fleeing other countries to come to the United States, and it's like, what are you doing? Why? Why in the world would you try to come here right now when you've got your own countries that are still operating like 1960s and 1970s up to 1980s, and you don't know how good you have it. You're not locked down, and you're not regulated out of your yang, and I mean, just, you probably can still hunt and fish without a license.
Kinneas 2-1 OLPD, approach altimeter 29.92 radar contact, continue.
Why in the world would you want to come here to be locked down and regulated to death, and then be nickel and dimed to death right now in the United States of America? You're better off fixing your own places, especially all these people in South America. They're fleeing paradise, and they could really, if they could just really get a handle on their own governments, and it's just ridiculous to me that anybody would want to come here. We should all be fleeing down there. It's getting stupid here, but that's just the way they want it. Again, that's like they want you to run. They want all your shit. They want your land. They want everything. They're unstoppable. They're insatiable, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They'll do whatever they can to make things as painful to you as possible until you leave so they can take your shit. I mean, that's mostly what we've seen as we've been traveling through here. As the communists came through, they took everybody's shit. That's what we've been hearing, story after story. We traveled through here. Oh yeah, this used to belong to these royal families, but then the communists came and took their shit. And then they inflated the economy so badly that when they finally were told to give them back to the people that own them, now they can't afford to have them anymore, and they have to sell them. So while the communists came in and took all their shit and are now rich.
118.175. Good day.
Sad, man.
118.175, Kinneas 2-1. Goodbye. Bucharest Center, Kinneas 2-1, 3,300 feet.
Kinneas 2-1 Bucharest Center, altimeter 29.92 radar contact, continue.
Pressing the wrong button and taking it up to a snapshot page. Wow, we're off track. It didn't lock back onto our. Well, at least we're going in the right direction still. We're 17 minutes away from making $25,000 for the day. All right, so we're back on track. They want us all poor and having nothing. At a time where we have the ability, everybody should be living in peace and harmony with global transportation and shipping and mass transportation. Everybody should be living the good life. We should all be singing Kumbaya, but no. Nah, the elites, man. They've got to ruin everything for everybody. You know, and it's the same people throughout time. We were talking, you know, on a lot of these shows, we talk about the psychology of humans and how that doesn't change. That is pretty much set in stone almost. There's not a whole lot of personality types. Yeah, people are different. We're all different from each other, but not so different that you can't, you know, nail it down to like 20, possibly 20 different types of personalities, male and female. There's not a whole lot. It's not infinite by any means. It's so everything changes except us, and we manage to do the same stupid things over and over. That's why they always talk about history repeating, because we don't change. Our personalities and our the human condition doesn't change. Human psychology doesn't change. And we manage to always put the same silly people in charge of things and
Going to 127.65.
making the same mistakes.
Varna Center.
Personality test should be a big part of elections. And if you exhibit certain personality traits that people have had throughout time that have caused great turmoil and disruption, you probably shouldn't vote for them. It'd be pretty easy, I think. But that's just it. They don't want something like that. I just wish us all good luck as we go into the future. It's, you know, I want everything to be wonderful. And again, at this time, technologically and at this age, we should all be doing really good. And I have hope that we'll still get it all under control, but man, certain people make things so difficult for everybody. I don't know what the solution is. I wish that were simple. Do. Take a look at our map out here and see what it has to say. That is where we are at in the world. That blue arrowhead. I'm kind of used to this territory from Rome Total War. Usually start over here, take all of this crap. Trying to secure all of this. Greece, Macedonia. And trying to get this taken. So that you can make your way down towards all of this. Secure Egypt and Northern Africa. Once you start getting out here, it's a little bit tougher. Keep everything under control and manage everything. Your empire is starting to get really huge. But I've managed it in Rome Emperor 2 or whatever, Rome 2 Emperor Edition. I've managed to take most everything. I'm working multiple fronts, trying to capture Britain. Working my way up in here. So I've conquered pretty much all of this. Mm-hmm. Tonight I'll be messing with the head tracking software, trying to get that configured and learn how to use that stuff a little bit more. As I was saying earlier in the show, if you're going to get the head tracker like OpenTrack software, I am now of the mind that you're not going to be happy unless you absolutely learn how to make your own profiles for all the different aircraft that you fly and make a profile for every one of them. Because unless you learn how to do it yourself and do your own mapping, you're not going to be happy. We all move our, we're all different. The way your cameras are set up, the way you want things to move, the way things, whatever, the way you're accustomed to moving. Where you want your head to be when you move a certain way, or lean forward or backward, where you want your eyes to be. You can try other people's profiles, sure, and some might work somewhat, but again, I don't think you're going to be happy all the way. It's not going to work the way you want until you get in there and learn how to customize everything yourself. And that's what I did last night for the Cessna. I really spent a lot of time just working one quadrant at a time. You can disable every other quadrant. Let's see. And what I mean by that is a quadrant like your left and right head turn. Turning your head to the left or turning your head to the right. Just isolate that. Turn off everything else. Disable everything with a click. And just concentrate on dialing in your left and right head turns, where you want your head to be, where you want your eyes to be when you turn. How much turn do you want to make in your head? And then when your head's turned sideways, see, that's another thing. You can turn your head sideways and you want to be looking out the window, but actually you've turned your head too far sideways and now you're looking over and then you can't focus on the screen. I mean, there's all these little things that you got to figure out. So I could turn my head to the right, but it wouldn't fully kick in. And if I start turning my head back to like look out the side window, I'm off. Anyway, you'll know what I mean when you start doing it yourself. It won't make any sense until you start doing it yourself. All right, we should be getting close to the airport. We could probably do a radio in, and what we're looking for is LBKA. And there it is right there. Rainy Chivo. And the wind is blowing probably from the west as usual. So we will choose runway 11.
Lima Bravo Kilo Alpha, traffic Kinneas, 2116 miles northwest, 3,300 feet inbound to land runway 11.
Get our landing pattern here in a moment. Follow on-screen instructions to enter the traffic pattern at the arrival airport. Since there are no air traffic control facilities at this airport, announcing your landing intentions and current position via the announce your landing intentions and current positions via the radio. Yeah, even though certain airports don't have air traffic control, it's courtesy to broadcast what you're doing to any other airplanes in the area so they know where you're at. So we've already announced that we're coming in for a landing for runway 11. But as you enter the traffic pattern, you can fine tune that by saying, you know, where you're at, like the upwind, downwind, base, or crosswind turn. We are at 3,000 feet. So we'll do a flight level change down to 1,200 feet. And it looks like we can, at this angle, can enter the traffic pattern and just go straight in. I'll turn off nav. Click the heading button to center it up. Click the heading button to activate it and jog a little bit this way. Line us up. All right, let's go ahead and turn back. So at this point, we can announce final.
Lima Bravo Kilo Alpha traffic Kinneas 21 is on final runway 11 to land.
Okay. Getting our speed down to flap range. Get into the white. Go ahead and whoa. All right, turn off the autopilot. I've done something terribly wrong. One of my buttons is not mapped properly. All right, let's set full flaps already. We will want to put on our separator. Pardon me, I'm cross-arming. Slow down. Thing doesn't have spoilers, which is unfortunate because we could definitely use to slow down a little bit more.
500.
I want to have to do a go around. Let me dive and then pull up and bleed off some speed that way. And it's a short runway.
Dispatch to pilot. That looked like a butter smooth landing.
Yeah, but we're going
Please exit the runway
too
and taxi to
fast,
parking.
ma'am. Too fast.
Taxi to parking and shut down your engine.
Way too fast. But we've got enough momentum. We spun out. I was gonna say, we got the momentum to make it all the way back to parking. I'm not sure where we're at in Romania, but welcome to here. Yeah, that was short. Short. All right. Our gas. So we're good shape. All right. To get paid, we need to put turn off the plane so that Neofly knows that we're here. And have it pay us. And if we are at the right airport, Neofly should kick in and pay us.
Transport from
There we go.
dispatch. Okay, nice job. Someone is coming to take the cargo. I'll call you when it's done.
All right, when you are in a shut-off position, you can now...
Pilot, that's all the cargo removed from the aircraft. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, may the force be with you. If you have your fuel synced in settings, which I do, then once you're at a hangar or stopped and it knows you're shut off, you can now top up your fuel. It's probably going to cost us an arm and a leg. There's $1,000. For a half tank. $1,100, $1,134.36 to get us to a little over half tank. We've been paid, and I don't know that I'm gonna, because I'm doing the DCS world. This is the mistake I made, is I'm renting this plane, and I didn't turn the plane in and stop renting it like the 2 weeks that I've been doing DCS world now, and I've been paying every day to have this plane and losing a lot of money every day. So it's a good idea to return your rented aircraft if you're not going to be flying for a while. And I might do Airbus tomorrow and just do freelance jobs so I can use different planes. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and return my rented aircraft. And they'll give us our deposit of $308,000 back. We had no real damage to the plane, which is nice. We have no damage to the engine, so we're going to get a lot of our money back. All right, so now we have no planes in our hangar. And so in freelance, as soon as you pick another plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator, whatever you choose, it will then show up here and provide you with a bunch of different jobs. So tomorrow we'll probably get the A320 and see what it has to offer for us. If you look on this side of the map over here, that's where we're at in the world. That short-ass runway. And we'll see where fate takes us. No idea which direction. We were so close to Ukraine, I thought we would be up that way. Anyway, we'll see tomorrow. See what happens. Okay. Let's close this show down. Back to messages. Change this to end of show. And I've got to get back into my Streamlabs. All my titles are jacked up now. I've been having to do resolution changes and everything else. So nothing's lining up right. And all the names at the bottom, like people that are subscribed and all that, can't really read it now. So I'm going to need some new titles. And it's always something, man. Always. So thanks for tuning in today. This has been Kinneas, Skydude, episode number 125. There's actually a lot more because on some days I was doing like 3 live streams a day, but I would just do those as BC and 125B, 125C if I did multiples in a day. So I'm probably up around like 130, 140, but no big deal. So tomorrow will be episode 126. and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Enjoy.